Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecca. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show that we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. So if you're joining us from either place, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment. Hopefully, I'll be able to go through it all as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. But let's get started here with a look at our headlines. Well, what are we tracking out through the rest of tonight? We've got partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. Temperatures will be dropping down to around seasonable, or they will be seasonable for this time of year, dropping into the upper 20s. And then looking ahead to this weekend, we're still tracking out that potential for widespread soaking rainfall. Mostly it will be all beneficial here because we are abnormally dry or in that level 1 drought. And then beyond this weekend, looking into next week, temperatures look to climb again, returning to spring-like levels for next week. So similar to what we had just this past Tuesday, we may see some more of that for next week. So get excited. But here's a look outside right now across the U.S. We've got this nice area of high pressure that's situated right over the Ohio River Valley. And we had this little disturbance that moved in over top of that ridge. But with that high pressure in place, we had a nice little subsidence inversion. So that helped keep any rain showers kind of evaporated before they hit the ground. And that's what we call Virgo, which I did a little explainer on earlier on 14 News at 4. But taking a look at our temperatures, we warmed up today. We had a mix of sun and clouds. We were anticipating a little bit more of a cloudier day, but with that extra sunshine, that really helped boost those temperatures all the way up into the upper 40s to lower 50s this afternoon. And that's running around 5 degrees above normal. Not often have we seen a map here show us on the positive side of things. So looking at that, typically our highs are in the mid 40s. So we were around 5 degrees above that. And now that the sun is set, we've cooled down a good bit. We've dropped down into the upper 30s, maybe even mid 30s in some spots. Some locations are still hanging out in the lower 40s there, like Owensboro, but we're sitting at around 38 in Evansville and Henderson, and around 35 there in Huntingburg, with partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. And looking at the next 12 hours, we'll continue to see temperatures drop down out of the 30s into the upper 20s to right around 30 degrees by the time you wake up early tomorrow morning. And with the clear skies overnight, that'll lead us into a very sunny Friday. And with that sunshine and southerly winds, temperatures will climb back up above average. So we'll be topping out in the mid 50s by tomorrow afternoon. And with high pressure in place, we should remain nice and dry. But it doesn't say sunny and dry for very long. We do have that system that'll be moving through during this weekend, specifically from late in the afternoon Saturday, overnight, and into Sunday morning. Temperatures, though, will still be on the warmer side. We'll be topping out in the 50s for both Saturday and Sunday. But timing everything out through the weekend, we'll start off Saturday on the drier side. You'll notice an increase in cloud cover, but we should be dry up until the late afternoon hours. So if you do have any outdoor plans, especially Valentine's Day plans, and you want to have something done outside, you want to do that in the first half of the day on Saturday before anything is wet, because as this rain moves in from west to east, it'll be a good soaker. We'll have some rainfall continue through the overnight hours into Sunday morning. Here we are at around 8 a.m., and then it should be gradually clearing and drying through Sunday afternoon, but everything will kind of be wet for the second half of the day on Sunday. So not necessarily the best for any outdoor activities. So that's why I'm recommending if you do want to do something outside this weekend, you want to make sure that's going to be in the first half of the day on Saturday. Now, in terms of rainfall, we're still looking at a good dose of rainfall here. Again, we're on the drier than average side. We've had a lot of snowfall this year, but snowfall doesn't really add up to a lot of liquid equivalent precipitation. So that's what we're kind of lacking here. That's what we've been lacking through the last month and a half. But with this rainstorm, we should get a good dose. We should get around 3/4 of an inch up to an inch across much of the tri-state. Can't rule out some pockets closer to 1.5 inches, especially farther to our south there. But it looks like the heaviest of the rains will remain either off to our south or off to the south and west. And that's where we see most of that flood risk. You can see a lot of Arkansas there, northern Louisiana, included within that level 2 threat for flash flooding. The level 1 threat, the isolated threat, extends a little bit farther out from that, and there is a little piece of it that kind of extends into the tri-state there. I'm not really expecting widespread flooding issues at all because just of how dry it is. We really need this rainfall, but you can't rule out, some isolated spots of flooding, typical areas that normally flood whenever we get some rain. So anticipate that, but it really shouldn't be much of an impact for us. But looking at our severe storm risk, as I know someone's going to ask, we aren't really outlooked for any kind of severe weather. The way that this low pressure system is going to be moving in, it stays off to our south. We don't ever really get up into that warm sector of the low pressure system, and that's where a lot of the instability, the moisture, and the lift is that's necessary for thunderstorms and even severe weather. So a lot of that stays well off to our south and west. They have that level 1 marginal risk for severe storms across portions of Texas, southern Oklahoma, southwestern Arkansas, and through much of Louisiana. And this will probably just shift over portions of the deep south through the weekend as that low pushes in from west to east. But we're kind of going to escape any kind of a thunderstorm or severe weather with this go around. So it's more just a beneficial rainy weekend, your typical rainstorm, not really expecting anything impactful out of it other than a good amount of rainfall that's going to be needed for this time of year. But once that rain clears out for Saturday and Sunday, we look to stay dry at least through the first half of the work week. We see some slight chances for rain return there Wednesday into Thursday, but it doesn't really look like anything substantial at this point in time. So we may just get a quick couple of passing showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, depending on how warm it gets by the middle and end of next week, which I'll touch on those temperatures here for you. Looking at the Climate Prediction Center outlook from February 18th through the 22nd, we continue to remain slated to see above average temperatures, not just here in the tri-state, but for pretty much the whole eastern half of the country. So another widespread spring-like warm-up is on tap for many of us across the U.S. And looking at that temperature trend, we topped out at around average yesterday, a little bit above today, and then we'll be well above average for Saturday and Sunday, topping out in the mid-50s still, and then we continue to see those temperatures climb way up into the mid-60s, maybe even upper 60s by the time we get into Wednesday of next week. And look at those overnight lows. Our overnight lows by that point are going to be warmer than our actual average high temperature for this time of year. So that's definitely a welcome sight after such a cold end to January, a pretty cold start to February as well. We've been warming up nicely over the last week and a half. So we'll continue to see this trend at least through the next 7 days. Can't guarantee it's going to be a long-term trend, but at least it's something special to keep our minds bright and show that there is light at the end of the tunnel. But there's a look at your 7-day forecast for you, and I'll take that full screen so you guys can get a better look at it while I'm going to take a look at some questions for you. Jack Maxwell says, hello. Suzanne says hello. Good evening to you, Cheyenne. Laura Gray, she's watching from Dawson Springs. Thank you for joining us. Zach Seats asking about widespread severe weather for next week. Nope. Kathy Rankin is joining us from Albion, Illinois. Well, thank you for joining us. We're happy that you're here. That is all the comments and questions that I'm seeing so far. So I am going to pop back on screen here, and I'll send you guys on your way. Tune in to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, stay safe, have a great rest of your night, and we'll look forward to those warmer temperatures next week.